Hi viewers, welcome back to our channel Make Math Easy. So in the last class I introduced the few problematic questions in the maxima and minima, and also before that class we discussed the entire concept of maxima minima, and we came to know that we are dependent on the behavior of the function to identify maxima and minima, and that identification or that change in behavior can be either from increasing to decreasing or decreasing to increasing, and based on that we are saying that whether it is giving you the maxima or minima. Okay, so if it shifts from increasing to decreasing, it is resulting in maxima. Similarly, when it is from decreasing to increasing, then it is minima. These are the two important points you have to remember to identify the maxima and minima. And also we discussed in the last class that there are two types of maximas and minimas. One is local maxima, local minima, another is absolute maxima, absolute minima. So the difference, very small difference between these two, whenever you are finding the maximum minima at the turning points alone, that means it is the local maxima, local minima. If along with the turning points, if you are finding at the domain also, that means extremities of the domain, then it is called as an absolute maxima, absolute minima. So in this the main difference here you can just identify from the given question itself. If they are mentioning interval and the extreme values are involved in the domain, then you can straight away think that it is absolute maxima and absolute minima, right? And along with this we should know when you have to use the second order derivative test. So see, for example, if it is a case of local maxima, local minima, I will just go for the differentiation, first order differentiation. I will equate to 0, I will get the turning points. At these turning points I am going to check whether the function is giving, at these turning points I will check for maxima and minima. See, whenever I can say this is a maximum and this is minimum, means I should have at least 2 points for comparison. So based on these 2 points, whichever is the highest value, I will say that is the maxima, whichever is the minimum, least value, that I will say as the minima value. What if we are getting only one turning point? So whenever you are getting only one turning point, it is not possible for us to identify or confirm whether that is giving you maxima or minima. So when we cannot say that at a particular point is the maxima or minima, you have to go for the second order derivative test for getting the confirmation. When you are getting the case of 2 points or more than 1 point, at that case you no need to go for the second order derivative test. That's why in the last example, in the last class I discussed that for the absolute maxima and minima we no need to go for the second order derivative test, for the simple reason you will have at least 2 points that are already existing in the domain. So whenever you are having more than 1 point for checking or confirmation about the maxima and minima, you no need to go for second order derivative test. So only when it is a case of local maxima and minima you have to go for second order derivative test. Also one more case is if you are having at only one turning point after equating f dash of x to 0, in that case you have to go for the second order derivative test, right? So let us see now few more questions, very basic questions based on local maxima, local minima and absolute maxima and absolute minima. Okay, so let's get started for today's class. See this one, for example, if I have a question like this: find the maxima or minima for the function f of x is equal to x cube plus 1. If I say like this, okay. See, every question you actually no need to go for the entire procedure, that f dash of x equating to 0 and getting the turning point. This much you no need to do all the time. Some questions we may get it directly also. So in this class we are going to discuss those type of questions where we no need to go for entire procedure of finding turning point, checking f double dash of x and all. Let us see few questions for which we no need to go for this type of things. Instead we can get it directly the values. Okay, so you just observe here f of x is equal to x cube plus 1 we are having, and it is very clear that this f of x is completely dependent on x cube. Why? Because this term is only having the variable x, whereas this is independent of x. Because of that, f of x is completely depends on x cube. So if I am able to say what is the minimum value of x cube, accordingly I will come to conclusion about minimum value of f of x. So you see here, this is a polynomial function, which means I can substitute any values from minus infinity to plus infinity. So that means the minimum value possible for this x cube will become obviously minus infinity, that I will say as an undefined. Right? So when the minimum value of x cube itself is undefined, means minimum value of f of x will also become undefined, because just now we discussed that minimum value of f of x function is completely dependent on x cube. So when you know the minimum value of x cube is undefined, obviously f of x will also become undefined, because this is the constant which is independent of x. So however the x is, whatever x you are substituting, it will still remains as a 1 only, that won't affect your answer. Now come to the maximum value of x cube. As we discussed already, x can be, you can take any input from minus infinity to plus infinity. So maximum value of x cube is again plus infinity, so I will write still it is an undefined. So if I ask you what is the maximum value of f of x, means again you will go for undefined. So the logic here is, first thing you should understand, in the given function what is the more dependent or what is the deciding factor for a function to identify the minimum or maximum. If you are able to identify that deciding factor initially, it won't be much difficult for you to identify the maximum and minimum values for the f of x function, given function, right? So the first thing is, whenever there are the polynomial functions given to you, provided if they don't define any domain, those type of questions, just by seeing it you can say the minimum value is undefined, maximum value is undefined, because it's a polynomial functions, right? So let us see some more examples so that you will get more clarity. If I have some question like this, some f of x is equal to, if I have x plus 1 when x is belongs to minus 1 comma 1. So just spend some time on observing this interval, x is belongs to minus 1 comma 1. In our class 11 linear inequalities, we learned that x belongs to minus open braces representing the extreme values are not included in the domain. That is the difference between the square braces and the normal parenthesis like this. If it is a normal parenthesis, means what it is informing, that the extreme values, whatever you are writing, something like an a comma b, the values are not included in the solution. If I am writing a comma b in the square bracket, the extreme values are included in the solution. So now you tell me, again here as I told you already, first thing you have to identify what is the dependent variable. This x is the deciding factor for us. Now try to tell me the answer. If I say that x is the deciding factor, once I should know first what is the minimum value of x, and hence I will come to conclusion about f of x. Now see, minus 1 to 1 is the domain given to us. So tell me, in between minus 1 and 1, how many numbers will be there? Yes, there exist infinite rational and irrational numbers. So what is happening here? I cannot say this is my minimum value of x. For example, if I say minus 0.9999 is the minimum value of x, someone else will come and say, I will just add 3 more 9s, and he will say this is the least. Someone else will come and say, I will put 4 9s here, and I will say, that person will say this is the least. So when you cannot say the minimum value of x, then again this can be categorized as an minimum value of x is undefined. So the common doubt that you will get now is, undefined means infinity. Know how the infinity is not here. Undefined is not equal to infinity. Undefined is nothing but the number you are unable to say it in a defined way. If I say 2 means 2 is a 2, I can be able to say that I have a specific number 2. But when it comes to when you are unable to define it properly, that is called as an undefined. Undefined doesn't mean always infinity. Now, when the minimum value of x is undefined, minimum value of f of x will also become undefined. In the similar way, the maximum value of x, if you see, maximum is 0.999, like this. If I say, someone else will add some 10 nines and he will say that is the maximum. Someone else will come and say 100 nines he will add and he will say that is the least. So again the maximum value of x is undefined. So the maximum value of f of x is also undefined again. Right? So the point you have to understand here is, why, though it is a restricted interval, why we are getting the minimum and maximum values are undefined? Because we are unable to say what is the minimum value of x, what is the minimum maximum value of x. That is why it is undefined. Let us say, if I change the question to x belongs to -1 to 1. Have you understood the difference now? This is a square braces, this is a parenthesis. Now in this case, if I ask you what is the minimum value of x, is, what is the answer? Yes, it's obviously -1. Why it is -1? Because the extreme values are included here. When the extreme values are included, so I can say that minimum value is -1. When the minimum value of my x is -1, means minimum value of x will become 0. Why? Because -1 plus 1, it will become 0. Similarly, maximum value of x is 1. So maximum value of f of x will become 1 plus 1, that is nothing but 2. So the point you have to understand here is, whenever you are dealing with the functions, especially polynomial or some trigonometric functions, it is not compulsory that you have to go for always the procedure that we discussed. We may able to get the answer in a simplest way just by observing the known functions for us, and hence identifying what is the deciding factor for that question to identify the minimum and maximum for the function. So let us see some more questions. For example, if I have f of x is equal to mod of x plus 2 plus 5. Please understand very clearly here. Again, this f of x completely depends on mod of x plus 2. So this mod of x plus 2 is always a positive number. So let us try to find out the first minimum value of mod of x plus 2. Minimum value of mod of x plus 2 will become 0. Because whenever you are saying the modulus always gives you a positive number, the least value of positive number is 0. So I will be getting 0. So when I say the minimum value of mod of x plus 2 is 0, minimum value of f of x will become 0 plus 5. So it will become 5. Now again come to the maximum value. If I ask you what is the maximum value of mod of x plus 2, that will become infinity, undefined. Why? Because I can say, whenever I am saying that it is a positive number, I can have a very much big number possible, which can be categorized, which can be treated as a maximum value. So when this itself is undefined, means maximum value of f of x is also becomes undefined. Right? So again, it is the same logic. You just have to understand what is the dependent or what is the deciding factor for us, and then how to find the minimum and maximum values for those deciding factor terms. Now I will just change this question. I will put a minus here, and let us see how this will change. Minus mod of x plus 2 and then plus 5 if I am having this. Okay. You just observe here again, this is my deciding factor, right? Now see, mod of x plus 2 is always positive, that we are all know. You see here, this minus into mod of x plus 2 is becoming negative. So that means this term will become negative because of this minus. Now, what is the minimum value of minus mod of x plus 2? Minus is representing, this is a negative number, right? So negative number means from 0 towards the left side I have to move. What is the least value that is possible? It is nothing but minus infinity. So it is undefined. So when this is undefined, what is the minimum value of f of x? Obviously undefined. Okay. Now come to the second part. Maximum value of f of x I am talking. Maximum value of minus mod of x plus 2. Now see, this is a negative number you are saying. So negative numbers means from minus infinity to 0. So what is the maximum number possible will become 0. When this itself is 0, what is the maximum value of f of x? It will become 0 plus 5, 5. So you just try to understand the difference here. Previously minimum value is 5, maximum is undefined. But here if you just observe, minimum is undefined, maximum is 0. Maximum is 5, sorry. So try to understand here. Here minimum value, here it's become maximum value. Why? Because of this minus. As this minus change the entire positive numbers into the negative, because of which the positive number, whatever the minimum value is becoming the maximum, and whatever maximum is becoming the minimum. Right? Let us see one more trigonometric questions we will see now. For trigonometric questions, especially with the sine and cos, it will become more easy. You no need to go for actually any formulation also. So for example, if you see f of x is equal to, if I give you sine 3x plus 6, okay, again procedure is the same. You no need to change your procedures. It is completely dependent on sine 3x, and this is the deciding factor. So that means first thing you should understand what is the minimum and maximum of sine 3x. Accordingly you will get for f of x. Sine function will have a minimum and maximum as in minus 1 and 1. Irrespective of angle, you will get always sine oscillating between minus 1 and 1. Similarly cos also. But when it comes to tan, cot, cosecant and secant, it may varying from minus infinity to plus infinity. That's a different case. But when it comes to the case of sine or cos, it will always oscillate in between minus 1 and 1. But see, your requirement is sine 3x plus 6. So what I will do, I will just add 6 throughout the inequality. Sine 3x plus 6 is less than or equal to 1 plus 6. Now this is 5 less than or equal to, this can entire thing replaced with f of x is less than or equal to 7. Right? So that means this f of x will be in between 5 and 7, which means that this is indicating minimum and this is indicating maximum value. Okay. So generally there is a one standard formula like this. If you have any trigonometric function in the form a cos theta plus b cos theta plus c is equal to 0, the minimum and maximum values will be c plus or minus root over a square plus b square. C plus represents the maximum value, C minus represents the minimum value, right? So you can just even cross check using this also to get your answers. If you just compare this one with this, A value is 1, B is 0, C is 6. Okay, so C 6 plus root over A square plus B square, C minus root over A square plus B square. So if you simplify this one, 6 plus 1 is 7, 6 minus 5, 5. 6 minus 1 is 5. Again you are getting the same values. But this you cannot use in your board exam because it is not officially mentioned in the textbook. But if you are preparing for any competitive exam, then you can use this type of shortcut formulas to get the minimum and maximum value for a function. Right? In the next class, we will see some more important models from the maximum minima. This is a vast topic. It will go for some days, because we have to try to cover all the important and possible models for the 3 mark or 5 mark questions. Okay, hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any doubts, you can post in the comment section. Try to like to our channel, hit a like button to our channel and subscribe also. We will make math easy for you, and this is our goal. Thank you.